Scotland's First Minister Ms Sturgeon took the majority of pro-independence MSPs elected to Holyrood last month as a mandate from the Scottish public to push ahead with another independence referendum. Known as Indyref2, she has promised to only push ahead with it once the urgency of the pandemic has subsided. However, she does not currently have the constitutional powers to get the Scottish electorate back in the ballot box, and she has to ask Prime Minister Boris Johnson to legitimise such a public vote first. Downing Street has so far rejected her plea. Mr. Johnson even dubbed the concept of a second referendum irresponsible and reckless, especially as she is proposing it just a few years after the first once-in-a-generation vote. But political pundits have expressed concerns that unless addressed, the growing body of support for independence could have serious consequences. Guardian columnist Simon Jenkins claimed earlier this year, Johnson cannot deny the Scots the form of government they want, and the more he stands in its way the more they will want it. He added, the sensible thing now is for Downing Street to seize the initiative. It should put the ball back into Scotland's court. Founder of strategic analytics consultancy, Diametrical Limited, Andrew Wilshire, built on this idea and claimed it would derail the Indyref2 attempts. He said Downing Street was left with three options: it could strike down a bill from the Scottish Parliament asking for another referendum, it could refer such legislation to the courts, or it could start the independence negotiations. He explained, the Achilles heel of the nationalists is their preference for deliberate obfuscation over the financial situation in Scotland, their incompetence in running public services and their avoidance of policy detail. He alleged that the 2014 White Paper, where the nationalists drew up a blueprint for an independent Scotland, has now been utterly discredited, pulling the rug out from under their campaign for another referendum. Former SNP deputy, Jim Sillars, also attacked the White Paper back in 2014 and said it had laid out a future for Scotland as a mini-UK, rather than a socialist alternative. Writing earlier this year, Mr. Wilshire claimed that the whole of the UK should take note from the drawn-out Brexit negotiations that changing a relationship is not easy, and that it would be unfair for Scottish voters to be expected to vote for such vague promises. He proposed Mr. Johnson set up a joint Scottish independence white paper between Downing Street and Holyrood, aided by civil servants, which would create a rough shape of just what an independent Scotland could look like. Mr. Wilshire suggested setting up institutions in Scotland, too, to help it transition smoothly into life outside of the Union, watched over by consultants and experts in fiscal policy. He even proposed hiring experts to iron out any potential issues over the border with England, giving Scotland more autonomy over its own finances by scrapping the Barnett formula and inviting a member of the European Commission to explain how Scotland could become an EU member state. The strategist said only after the White Paper is drawn up can a referendum be held 6 months later, meaning its exit can be finalised within the year, if that's what the public want. He said the SNP could not refuse to engage with such offers from Westminster. Writing in The Spectator, Mr. Wilshire also claimed formalising what an independent Scotland could look like would also do more to boost the case for the Union than any number of clever interventions.